Hey everybody, is Intel stock a buy? That's what we're here to figure out right now. Here's the process. We're going to look at the chart, we're going to look at news, look at any data reports, and any deals they have made recently. And then we're going to check the technicals on can it go any higher or will it go lower to support and then go up. But I have been seeing some positive news, so that's why I wanted to cover Intel. First thing first, Intel stock pops as analyst sounds alarm on potential Apple partnership. Key facts: Intel stock closed up 10% at $40.56, nearly reaching its highest closing price in well over a year. Hey, that's pretty big. Over a year, that's pretty huge. TF International Securities analyst Ming Ching Kuo, I think I said it right, said in a statement Friday morning his latest industry surveys indicate that visibility on Intel becoming an advanced node supplier to Apple has recently improved. Let's look at some more news. So let's minimize this real quick so you can see as well. Now here's the recent deals and partnerships. Intel stock has recently surged due to speculation about a potential chip manufacturing deal with Apple, as well as major investment partnership with NVIDIA, SoftBank, and the U.S. government. I like that. Potential Apple partnership rumors. NVIDIA investment and partnership in September 2025, not too long ago. NVIDIA announced it would acquire $5 billion worth of Intel shares and collaborate on developing custom data center and PC products. That's going to be huge news. It hasn't really rallied too much from that, but I think that's to come later on. U.S. government investment. Anytime you have a U.S. government dealing with you, that's going to be huge news for your company. Anytime U.S. government is involved. The U.S. government purchased a nearly 10% equity stake in Intel August 2025, an $8.9 billion investment to boost domestic semiconductor manufacturing as part of the CHIPS Act. That's good, but have we seen a lot of movement in the share price? Not too much. It's still like in the 20s to 40 range. SoftBank investment, also in August 2025, SoftBank agreed to invest $2 billion in Intel by purchasing stock. This is a lot of good news. You would think this stock would be maybe $50 to $100 based on news alone. And why haven't the news made the price go higher? This could be why. These deals have significantly boosted Intel's stock value, which roughly doubled in 2025. Though the company still faces execution risk and heavy competition from rivals like NVIDIA and AMD. So it's a market share game right here. You have NVIDIA, you have AMD, you have a lot of semiconductor stocks out there competing for market share. And this is why probably Intel has been held down some. Last but not least, Intel stock has recently seen positive reaction to potential collaboration with Tesla on advanced AI manufacturing chips, which was hinted by Elon Musk. Now let's look at the chart and see where we can go for Intel. First thing I want to look at is the weekly. I look at a lot of stocks. I put them on my channel, so please subscribe. And if you know me from before, the first thing I always do, I start with the weekly because weekly tells the full story. 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30. That's a day trade zone. I don't really care too much about that unless I'm trying to day trade. Now, if we're talking about long term, we're looking at the 4 hour, daily, weekly, and monthly. I'll get down to the 1 hour, but I always start with the weekly. Sometimes monthly, but it's kind of far off, 1 month each. But if you're long term, 5, 10 years, 20-year holder, yeah, you can look at the monthly. And the monthly on Intel looks pretty good. A lot of green candles, 4 months straight green. Now, if you looked at the daily chart for Intel, it looks good, but it doesn't look that great, right? It came up with a gap right here, up a lot right here, then it came down, now it's come back up again. But you look at the monthly chart, this is a huge buy on the monthly chart. It's just 4 green candles on a monthly, 4 months green. Weekly chart looks pretty good too, right? Numerous weeks going up, 3 weeks going down, and then we have a 1 weekly green candlestick, which is pretty bullish. That's why it's good to look at the weekly and the monthly. It gives you a full description, a full picture of how the stock is actually doing, not just day trade stuff. But we do look at it every once in a while. If you want to play options, right? A weekly option, a monthly option. That's why I look at it sometimes. But on a daily, even a daily looks good for Intel. We have 5 days straight green, a whole week of green candlesticks. Imagine if you bought the $32 at Intel right here, and now we're sitting at $40.76. You did good for that week. You did really good for that week. Now, when there's a lot of green candlesticks consecutively, like in a row, 5 green candlesticks in a row right here, you could possibly see some profit take, right? Good news brought it up, and you could probably see some profit take because what, $32 to $40.76. Sometimes people want to take profit and get some money out, and then they'll buy back in on the dip. And that's what we're here for. We want to see the resistance, the support, and where can Intel go next. That's what everybody's here for. That's what you're watching for, because that's the most important thing. You got to know where the stock is going to go. That's how you make money. Buy the low, sell the high. First, we're going to start with the weekly chart. We're going to work our way in. The highest resistance we're looking at for Intel that we need to break to be super bullish will be $52. $52 is going to be the super bullish resistance to break, and then you know that Intel is well on its way to much higher ground. And the lowest support I'm looking at is $33 right now. The reason why, because we're very bullish right now. If you want to get a lower support than $33, I'll probably take it down to $30.38 maybe. But we're doing really good. I'm not going to take Intel down to like a $24 support, because why? Why would we do that if we've been consolidating in this area for so long? $17 to $27. We've been consolidating for weeks and weeks, all the way back in September 2024. So that support, I think we're done with that area right here. I think we're done with this area. And if we're going to consolidate again, it'll be in this area right here. We're moving on up. We're moving on up with Intel because the stock is growing. We're getting deals. We're getting partnerships. And, you know, the future looks bright. The future looks bright with Intel. So the support for Intel, $33, $35, and $38. Let's look at the daily chart so you can see it much better. So this is what we're looking at for the daily chart. The candlestick is right here, and we're between $38.52 support and a $42 resistance. That's where we're looking at for Intel currently for Monday. That's what you want to look for, 38 and the 42 range. That price channel is what you need to focus on Monday. Are we going to break the resistance at 42, or are we going to go down to the support at 38? Or will we just trade in the middle and consolidate of these two, resistance and the support? And as you can see on a 4-hour chart, that is a big gain. See, me, the way I trade, I usually don't buy something like this. You know, I see a big candlestick like this. I usually won't buy this, you know, when the market first opens. I may wait a little and see if it's going to dip some, maybe down to 38, because this is a huge candlestick to buy at the top. And if you're day trading, you're probably going to get sold down a little bit for a profit taker. But if you're holding for a long term, you could buy here at open, but don't buy your full amount maybe. Buy maybe half. And then if it goes down to 37, 38, or maybe 36, then you buy the other half in, right? So it's numerous strategies to buy stocks that are up a lot when you're long term, because it doesn't matter anyway. You're not going to sell. So it doesn't matter where the price is currently. If it goes down some, if you have faith in the company, you know it's going to come back up again. So you're not too worried about it where you want to buy in at if you're holding long term. But if you're day trading, these resistance and support are very important if you're only going to hold for maybe a few hours or a day, or you're planning weekly. Intel is good for a long-term trend because, you know, they're growing. They're growing a lot based on how they were before. A lot of deals, NVIDIA, we have Apple, we have Tesla, we have everything. We have everything going our way right now as far as catalysts. And probably when that Apple deal comes through, it may go up even more to that $50 range. That's what I'm thinking. You know, right now the rumor. People buy the rumor, so who knows? It could go to $50 before the Apple deal comes through. So Intel does look good, for sure. And the main resistance up here is going to be $62. That's the high. That was back in 2021, long time ago, all right? And will we hit $62? I think so. I think we will hit $62 at some point because of all the deals that are going through, or the partnerships are going through. But right now, it's starting to look good. Starting to turn the corner right here. It's been in a downtrend for a while, and we are officially almost in an uptrend, right? Let's see. On a weekly, we're in an uptrend. Yeah, on weekly, we're in an uptrend. The monthly, almost in an uptrend, almost. Once we go to the $50 range, we'll be in a huge uptrend for Intel, and let's keep it that way, all right? Thanks, everybody. Subscribe, like, and comment if you want to see more stocks that are about to go up. Take care.